Hey guys, welcome in to the Sportscast here, Lambeau Leap Edition. Yes, you heard that right. The Lambeau Leap Edition is all Green Bay Packers, brought to you under the Sportscast umbrella. And look, guys, my name is Brian. I host the Sportscast here, and if you know, you know. I'm a big Green Bay Packers fan. I bleed green and yellow, and I tell you what, I was going to start a whole new show and call it the Lambeau Leap, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy, and I'm already running the sportscast and everything like that, so I'm going to do little Lambeau Leap editions, and this is the introduction number 1, and I'm going to tell you today why I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, how that became, and I'm going to give you one word to describe the season the Green Bay Packers just had and go from there and talk a little bit about it. All right, guys. Well, my name's Brian. I am a little bit about me. If you haven't watched the sportscast here, I'm a big Packer fan. Obviously, you can see Green Bay. I got Green Bay stuff all over the place, and you probably think I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin, or up in Wisconsin. I do not. I've been born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas Cowboy country, and you're probably asking yourself, then how the hell did you become a Green Bay Packer fan? And I'm a big believer in, if your parents were a fan of a certain team, they're going to pass that down to you, right? If my dad was a Dallas Cowboys fan and I watched games with him, I'm sure I would be a Dallas Cowboy fan as well. But my dad was not a fan of any team growing up when I was a kid. He never stuck to a team. He would follow the Cowboys. He'd follow Jacksonville. He'd follow, I think now he follows the Chiefs. He doesn't really have a team that he specifically roots for all the time. So that being said, when I started watching football, football is my favorite sport, and I said, well, I don't want to have to like a team just because I was born in Texas. Nothing against Texas. I love Texas. I love the Rangers. I'm a Dallas Stars fan. No problem there. But football is my favorite. And I said, well, I'm going to start watching football. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to, as a kid, not knowing the rules and all that jazz. Well, I turned on the football, and I saw Brett Favre play. And I said, man, this guy's fun to watch. I'm also a kid, mind you. My favorite color is green. That went hand in hand. Brett Favre was so fun to watch. I tuned into a lot of Packer games, and I looked up the history and the Lombardi Trophy and Vince Lombardi and the Ice Bowl, and I was hooked. I've been a fan ever since, and it was it. I'm a Packer fan. I bleed green and yellow. I'm in Dallas Cowboy country, which makes it even better because it's a rival now between the two, and I get to talk a lot of crap to the Cowboy fans. And I grew up with a bunch of Cowboy fans who just talk smack every year, and it's just annoying. So, anyways, that being said, that's how I became a Packers fan. Now I'm a Ranger fan because I've been to hundreds of Ranger games, and I'm a Stars fan. But other than that, let's not get off topic. This is going to be Packer football, Packer questions, Packer answers, all those good things. It's all going to be on this podcast here. And I wanted to start out by introducing myself there and explaining why I'm a devoted Packer fan living in Texas. And I have not yet been able to go and join or go and visit Titletown, Lambeau Field, but I will eventually get there. I got a vacation in July, and I was hoping to go up there, and my wife was like, "Hey, let's go to Green Bay. Let's go to visit Lambeau Field. Let's finally mark that off the bucket list." But they don't do tours in July, so if I can't go and walk around the stadium, then there's no point in me going. So, but I will get there one day. I will. All right, guys. Well, this season, if I had to give this season a one-word description of how the season went, that word is disappointment. And I think a lot of Packers fans can agree with me that this was a disappointing season. We bring in Ed Policy to replace Mark Murphy, and he goes out and makes one hell of a splash move and signing Micah Parsons. and I loved it. The Cowboy fans were like, "What in the world did we just do?" A lot of Cowboy fans are in denial that Micah Parsons isn't that good, even though when he was on the Dallas Cowboys team, he was the best player ever. So that was kind of funny to watch. Uh, I make that trade 10 times out of 10. Micah Parsons, an absolute beast. So he goes out, he gets Micah Parsons. We got Tucker Kraft, who looks like a breakout year for him. Looks like he's Gronkowski out there. He's going to be a beast. We got another year under Jordan Love. And then we go and draft a first-round wide receiver, which we haven't done in like 17 years, in Matthew Golden out of Texas. So we do a lot of things good. We have the hype trains in Green Bay. Let's go. You get Micah Parsons. Tucker Kraft's going to have a breakout year. Jordan Love's a good quarterback. We get another year of him in the system. You go out and you get Matthew Golden. Everything was hyped up for the Green Bay Packer fans. I know I was hyped. I thought this year was going to be a very special year. And I was wrong because injuries killed us. Absolutely destroyed us. And I've never seen an injury of a pass rusher like Micah Parsons deflate his team, but that's exactly what happened. And the turning point to me was the Denver Bronco game. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But the Packers led by 10 in Cleveland, led by 13 in Dallas. I was at that game. Led by 9 in Denver. We're going to circle that game. Led by 10 in Chicago and led by 18 in Chicago. We did not win any of these football games. That's atrocious. That cannot happen. That is on Matt LaFleur as the head coach, and he was on the proverbial hot seat when the season ended. A lot of fans didn't want him back because of all these losing games the way they have, by losing leads. We should not have lost to the Dallas Cowboys. We should not have lost to the Chicago in both games, and we definitely should have not have lost to Cleveland. If you want to say we should have lost to Denver, okay, I can give you that because Denver Broncos are a pretty good football team, and if they didn't get their quarterback injured, they're probably playing in the Super Bowl. But we were up by 9, and then all hell broke loose. So Micah Parsons tears his Achilles. We lose our offensive lineman. And look, guys, I didn't come on here to make excuses and anything like that. And I'm a big believer in everyone's injured, right? Someone coming to me, oh, unless you lose your quarterback, which the Green Bay Packers did for a couple games this season, unless you lose your quarterback, I say boo-hoo, right? If you lose your quarterback, because we all know in this league, if you don't have a good quarterback, you're not winning. Bottom line, you're not winning. That's fact. If, ands, or buts. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you do not have a quarterback, you're not going to win in the NFL, and that's it. So if you lose your quarterback, Dak Prescott got injured a couple years ago. I gave the Cowboys a mulligan season. So at the end of the year, when everyone's hurt and injured, I'm usually on board with, hey, everyone's injured. It's time for people to step up. But I will tell you this. The Packers were decimated in injuries. And it wasn't just the amount. It was the who. The superstars. We lost the top 3 pass rusher in football, Micah Parsons in Denver, when he tore his Achilles. The same game, we lost our offensive left tackle in Zach Tom. Boom. We lost Tucker Kraft. That wasn't the same game. We lost Tucker Kraft, who is a top 3 tight end, looked like to be a top 3 tight end. Looked like Rob Gronkowski out there, right? Gronk. We lost Jordan Love for a couple of games. Now we have Malik Willis in there, and he was a serviceable backup quarterback, and he got him a deal in Miami, and wish him nothing but the best. We lost superstars, and there's so many before you just can't recover. That is not an excuse. This is what happened. And I'm not going to talk about the offseason yet. That'll be another episode here to get into what we've done this offseason and things like that. But you got to remember, Packer fans, we're going to get Micah Parsons back. We're getting Tucker Kraft back. We're getting Zach Tom back. We're getting those players back. We're getting Jordan Love back. He missed a couple games. I'll give you my Matt LaFleur take here in another episode as well. But this season was a disappointment. And this team is too good to be that team that we just put out there. And those losses, when you lose those games I just talked about, by 10, led by 10, led by 13, led by 9, led by 10, when you lose those, that is on coaching. You got to know how to close out games. You got to know how to win. And Matt LaFleur has got to figure out how to change the culture that he's set. When Matt LaFleur came in, I was a little iffy because no one knew who he was. He's a really good head coach. He's a great play caller. I like him. He had to change the culture from that, from the previous head coach and Mike McCarthy. But now he's going to be asked to do something a little different, and that's change the culture he has set, because the Green Bay Packers have got to get tougher. Bottom line. And the Cowboys will sit here and the fans will tell me that Micah Parsons is not the leader that he needs to be. I've heard nothing but great things out of Micah Parsons. Maybe he's turned that leaf over. Maybe he's changed a little bit. I don't know. But he's saying the right things. He's got his players down there. He's working them out together. Our quarterback will go out with his receiver crew over in the offseason and work together. Matthew Golden's got to be used more. I think that's exactly why we let go of Dobbs. We've got to use Matthew Golden. We have Watson. We have players that can play. So I'm interested to see how this season goes. I'm interested to see what the draft looks like, since we don't have a first-round draft pick. You have a lot of disappointing losses. And then you lose 5 straight games to lose a season. And I'm telling you, that turning point was in Denver when Micah Parsons went down. It was a wrap. We still made the playoffs. That was it. We got to start winning divisions again, okay? Packer fans, Matt LaFleur. You got embarrassed by the Bears. The Bears, kudos to you. Had a decent year. I talk with a buddy of mine, Paul, who's a Bears fan, who does Bearski Films, and he's as a Bears podcast only. And I go on there sometimes and we'll talk, and he's very, what's the word? He tells you how it is. He doesn't drink the Kool-Aid. I don't drink the Kool-Aid either, the Green Bay Packers. I'll tell you how. I'll tell you if we sucked. I'll tell you if we're good. I'll tell you what I truly believe. I'm not just on here to tell you that the Green Bay Packers is the best team ever. And that might get me some people that don't like my takes. It is what it is. But I pride myself on telling you how I see it, and same thing with the sportscasts. But this season, one word to describe it is disappointment. You have all the preseason hype from last year. We make moves. We go out and we get Micah Parsons, and you have all that, and then you have the letdown of the season. You don't win the division. The Bears get 2 up on you. The Bears punk you a little bit. Ben Johnson was a good hire for them. I thought it was going to be, and now I hate the guy. But he's a little disrespectful to your coach. You got to toughen up. You don't want him to be disrespectful to your coach? Go out there and win the damn football games at the end of the day. So I hope Green Bay brings a little more heat, a little more anger, a little more toughness to the season, because the Green Bay Packers got to get tougher. And the way they let these games slip, the way that they lost 5 straight games to lose a season, not a good look, even though the last 3 games really didn't matter. We were already in the playoffs, but that doesn't matter. Losing 5 games, not a good look. You got to get tougher, and Matt LaFleur is going to have to change the culture he has set. He's going to have to change it. He's going to have to get tougher. And my next episode, we'll talk about the off-season moves that we've made. We've done who's our new defensive coordinator, as our defensive coordinator just left, and all that. All right, guys, well, that's my first edition here of the Lambeau Leap under the Sportscast. Hope you like it. Follow along, you Packer fans out there, and follow along for you Bear fans that just want to get on here and talk trash. All right, guys, God bless, and remember to keep it outspoken.